Hello, fantastic to have you here and welcome to Nuts and Bolts. We've got a great session on for you today and it's all about the things I hate about being a leader. You know, I've gone around and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of leaders all around Australia and New Zealand and now overseas. So there's been a general trend of about 10 things people hate about being a leader. And you know what, I resonated with some of these as well, so maybe you will. So let's start. Okay, so the first one, added responsibility of being a leader. Of course, no one tells you when you've got that great promotion and you're now going to be a leader of people that this added responsibility of dealing with all the different personalities on your team and dealing with their issues that they have and them wanting to offload them on you, and you're still getting tasks coming down the line and you've still got your job to do, and wow, so many more added responsibilities that you wouldn't have had before. So these are things that you need to deal with and prioritize and learn time management skills to make sure that you can get everything done. And remember, being a people leader is really not an easy thing to do. So if you're struggling, if you're finding it really hard, that's okay. You are not the Lone Ranger. There are plenty of leaders out there in exactly the same situation as you. Okay, so keep going. You're doing really well. Another thing that people hate about being a leader, the responsibility to make those hard decisions. Okay, so this is where you get your big bucks or little bucks, however many bucks you're getting. You are being paid to make the decisions, and some of those decisions can be really tough, hard decisions. And you know what? As long as you make a decision and that it's in an informed manner, then I think that's the main thing. It's when we don't make decisions and we and waffle and carry on. So we have to make sure that we do make the decisions, because that's our responsibility as a leader, of making those really difficult decisions. Some of them will be easy, but not every decision we face is going to be easy. So you will get some tough ones. So some leaders have felt that that's what they hate about being a leader. Another one, another thing that people hate about being a leader is sometimes there is an unclear pathway of which way to go forward. So they've said, hey, fantastic, Jeremy, you're now in charge of this team. See you later. We're off to do some other stuff. And you're like, what the? I don't know what I'm doing with this team. I don't know a pathway forward. What am I supposed to say to them? How often am I supposed to meet? And so sometimes it's really unclear on how you're working with this team. And sometimes it's you don't get any handover, or if you do, it's very little, or the role would have been vacant when you walked in there, so you had nothing to go off. So this is where it's really important to have some good co-workers or people that you can sort of bounce some ideas off, or even talk to your team and go, okay, so how are we going to go going forward? But that is something that some people hate too, is that unclear pathway. There's another one that people don't like about being a leader, and that's the desires of others. So there's a lot of politics in leadership. There's a lot of people trying to push their desires on you. Oh, we haven't got enough time to do this. Can your team do it? Or or I know that your Sally in your team is really good at this. Can you get her to do that? And you need to forge your own path. So sometimes you'll find that lots and lots of people have their wishes and desires on you, and that's pulling your time, your efforts, your team's time and their efforts. And sometimes we have to learn to say no, and that's really tough. So that's another thing that people hate, is the desires from other people. Another one, the failures we experience on the way. It is a great pathway to learning. Yes, we all know that. We all know that mistakes you learn from and you get great stuff from, but boy, is that hard. And boy, do people hate it. They hate failing. They hate not doing the right thing, making the wrong decisions, all those sorts of things. You're going to do it though. You're going to do it like everybody else has. And that's okay, because you will learn from it. But believe you me, it doesn't get any easier when you bugger it up. As long as you can sort of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, go, okay, well, that was a bit of a balls up, but what would I do differently next time? You're okay. But people hate that. People hate failing. So another thing that leaders hate doing is that feeling of responsibility, which is similar to one when, you've got added responsibility of leadership. But this is more about the responsibility that you have personally to your team. So if people are coming to you with mental health issues or personal issues, or, you know, my daughter's sick and I can't do all this, so that sort of level of responsibility of balancing what needs to be done right for the business and the department, but what needs to be done right for this person, you know. So you've got that responsibility to get that balance right. And sometimes we don't get it right. Sometimes we go all people weighted and then all our KPIs and all that sort of suffer, or we go really organisation weighted and all our people suffer. How do you get that balance? So it's really tough for leaders as well. Another one is the influence of your leadership. Did you know that as a leader, the example you set, and it doesn't have to be the words you say, it doesn't have to be what you write on the board, it doesn't have to be what you're typing in the email, it is what you do is going to be so influential to your team. So if you are harping on about work-life balance, how important it is, and then you're starting at 7 a.m. and finished at 9 p.m., or working through your lunch breaks, then, you know, there's going to be a disconnect there. So the fact that you have got so much influence now that you're a leader, you may not even be aware of it, but they are looking at everything you do, not just say, everything you do. So make sure you're setting the right example. But that's really tough on leaders. So that's something that people don't like. The other thing is passing the baton on to somebody else. So part of a leader's role is to build the capability of others and develop them and almost make them ready for them to move into their next position, which might be your position. So sometimes we've done all this, you know, work, we've coached, we've mentored, we've done all these things, but sometimes it's hard to pass that baton over to somebody else and then move on. You've spent 2, 3, 4 years building up this team, building up this department, getting a great reputation. It's a high-performing team. They're moving you on now. That's a bit hard to take. So some leaders don't like that, passing the baton on to somebody else. What about the desire to see change in people? So this is really, really tough as well. So you might have somebody on your team that you can see so much potential with. I remember working with this one person who had so much potential. He was keen, he was enthusiastic, he was smart, he was clever, he had influence and credibility on the floor. But boy, did he have a chip on his shoulder. And he was totally paranoid that everyone was out to get him. So his behaviours and his attitude stunk. And as much as I tried to coach him and mentor him and do all the things that you want to do to try and get this person really constructive, excuse me, nothing worked. So in the end, I had to just go, as much as I want to see change in you, as much as I see potential in you, you're going to have to want it yourself. I can't give it to you. So that's really sometimes hard to take. You spend a lot of time and effort with people that you see potential in. They don't see it in themselves. What do? You can't do anything. So sometimes that's really hard to take as a leader. So what do you hate about being a leader? Some of those things that might resonate with you. Some of you might have some new ones. I'd love to hear about them. So let us know on ask@teamleadertoolkit.com, and we will read them out. And also, if you've got any burning platforms, issues, concerns, any worries whatsoever, you want us to help you solve them, again, ask us at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com, and we will put a video together and we will try and help you with some creative, innovative ideas on how to solve that problem for you. All right, so until then, have a fantastic day and we will see you next week. Bye for now.